Dr. Wesam, I send you the YouTube link in
Yes,
WhatsApp.
yes, I got it. I got it.
So maybe I leave this.
Okay, Pak. Okay. Terima kasih. Yes, Assalamu alaikum and good afternoon, good evening, morning to some of you. So we will start in 5 minutes just to let more people to join. So can you please kindly give us like 5 minutes, then we will start the webinar. Thank you so much. Okay, Assalamu alaikum and afternoon, good evening, good morning to some of you. So welcome again to our webinar today, which will be entitled Academia for Sustainability. So we'll be discussing the contributions of the universities, the academic institution, in terms of achieving the SDGs and the contribution to sustainability in all aspects. And this is part of our efforts to promote sustainability, and part of it as an activities of the Environmental Awareness Initiative, which is a collaboration with the United Nations Environment Program at Saudi Arabia. And again, it is part of the activities of the Global Ambassadors of Sustainability. So today we will be having 4 speakers, and we will start with Prof. Fadil from University Technology Malaysia. He is the director of the Sustainability Office at University Technology Malaysia. And so Prof. Fadil, the floor is yours, and you'll be having 10 minutes to speak.
Okay, thank you very much to Dr. Wissam, and good day to everyone. So my name's Muhammad Fadil, as introduced by Dr. Wissam, and thank you for letting us to discuss. I think this is a quite remarkable and a very I think outstanding approach by all of us that actually entered to this room, because when we discuss about the sustainability and SDG, especially when we are focused on higher education institutions and higher learning institution, this is a part of what our contributions, and that will be another aspects that we have to look, because as you know that we are in the stage of ending of the process for looking for what exactly the impacts that we are already stated in our commitments, in our pledge, in our part of the documentations, maybe when we are drafting for our sustainability, especially in higher education. So I think to be start on the series of what the agenda and what exactly the moving forward that we are looking for the sustainability, the most important things right now, because this is already 2023, so we only have 7 years from now to reach whatever the targets, whatever the indicator, whatever the elements that already been listed there under the United States, under the United Nations. And for example, in the program that we created for our own universities, especially because we holding a few positions, either we are as the administrators, researchers, academicians, but the most important thing is to translate back whatever we been looking for maybe several years ago when we started on our goal in SDG. So I think the specialty that we have so now in order to make sure that everybody on board is to ensure that the action plan and some of the execution strategic plan by each of the university must have a kind of focus oriented right now, because we don't have much time to ensure that the impacts will be contribute in a certain way, in certain contribution, and it will influence our new legacy, our new generation, especially towards to bringing up what's the most important things. I think we already listened that many of our leaders, especially when we talk about what exactly the inputs and outcomes that's supposed to be highlighted in each of the country, because we know that each of us having some difficulty when we are talking about the climate change and we are talking about the environment. Since we are actually in the sustainability room, sustainability initiative, so make sure that whatever we bringing it up, and also we targeting for some of the achievement, don't forget that to include again on the other pillars of the sustainability. For example, on the social, on the economy, on some of the well-being and everything. So this is something that very much passionate among us, since we are actually focus and highlight what the important message that we want to bring. In university, I always make it as a three components, three elements that focuses on the roles and responsibility by each of these elements. Number one is about our students. So this is our game changer with the students. We always inculcate them, we nurturing them, and we educate them in order to make sure that they are in the position as our the fast forward in the next generation. At the same time, we also bringing our stakeholders, like for example, our operators, our service commitments, our make a kind of development inside our program and initiative, especially when we are talking about the campus itself. We also have our own mini local authority that actually operating our campus. So we need also to include them as to understand they also have their own responsibility to ensure that each of the SDG, each of the sustainability element must translate into them. So this is another commitment that we have to make. So another one is actually in the education program. So in the education program, we always mention about the ESD, like for example, education for sustainable development, that actually are our curriculum, our program academic will be benefit for them in order to bring more relevance in the future. And we know that right now we are depending much on the 4IR. So this is something that we have to look. For example, the students, when they are coming to the campus, they can get a good job, make it as an entrepreneur. And right now we're having like a green job. So the green job that created for them is not only make them as the employee, but also make them as the technopreneur, for example, innovator, to bring up more sustainable way in terms of job creation, for example. So that's one of the aspects that we have to look. And last but not least, we need to ensure that whatever the commitment by the global must be translated back into our local community, that we actually contribute back in a small committee, small community, and also some of the governmental agencies. Because you know that right now we are facing few challenges and few issues, especially when we are trying to mitigate and adapt a few kind of climate crisis, and also some local agenda that we have to bring up. For example, in terms of a local agenda by our municipality to anchor back with what the higher education contribute from the sustainable development goal targets, as well as the education itself. So I think this is a best platform for us to do some discussion works and to make sure that this is a part of our contributions, because at the end of the journey is to ensure that this make us to translate back to our society. I think that's all from myself to have some little bit introduction, and back to you, Dr. Wissam. Thank you.
Yeah, Prof, thank you so much for your enlightening remarks. So now we move to the second speaker, and we will be having Dr. Rawan Al-Hirsh. And Dr. Rawan is Associated Professor from MGH Institute of Health Professions from Boston at the United States. So the floor is yours, Dr. Rawan, and you will be having 10 minutes, please.
Thank you very much, Dr. Wissam, and thank you for the audience for attending. I'm going to be sharing my screen. I have a couple of slides and a video to showcase. Okay, so today I'm going to be speaking to you about the utilization of academic community partnerships for people with disabilities. So as Dr. Wissam said, I am currently based in Boston, but the majority of my work happens between the Middle East and Jordan and the United States. And I will be speaking to you about how we utilized partnerships between an academic institution, which is the MGH Institute, and stakeholders in Jordan, including the UNRWA and the Higher Council for the Rights of People with Disabilities in Jordan as a country. So I'm just going to give you an overview of the problem that we typically work with. I'm an occupational therapist by training, and I'm a scientist in rehabilitation. So disability and rehabilitation globally, when we're thinking about the people with disabilities, there are more than 1 billion people who have a disability worldwide. And we're doing such a good job in keeping people, healthy and alive. And this is, due to the advancements of surgeries and pharmacological, interventions where we've done great in finding medication for overcoming disease, but we're keeping people with disease and alive for longer periods of time. So, which means that people are living longer, but they're living longer with a disease, and this means that people become disabled a lot more. And this includes, aging population, etc. And the numbers of people with disabilities are expected to even grow bigger, and with the advancements of medicine. To combat that, so when we say we have people with disabilities, on the other hand, we need to provide them services that are appropriate with this. So we have disability, and then we don't have rehabilitation on the other hand. The majority of rehabilitation exists in, high-income countries, and in low and middle-income countries, there are less than 10 rehabilitation professionals per million people. And with this, when I'm speaking about professions that I teach, including occupational therapy and physical therapy, there are less than 2 occupational therapists per million people. And there are less than 6 physical therapists per million people as well. And when we consider wars, and when we consider areas of like natural disasters and migration due to climate change, these numbers of services provided to populations generated from these crises are even lower. So as you can see, there's a gap, that academicians and scientists like myself that we have to overcome, which is disability is on the rise and people don't have access to rehabilitation. And I saw a window of opportunity as a professor to design and execute a community-based rehabilitation impactful curriculum specifically for occupational therapy students, which I teach in my home institution. So as part of my teaching of graduate students in this organization, we are required, to teach them solutions. So when they leave, they can impact change that is sustainable. So I'm not going to go into a lot of details, but in community-based rehabilitation, for those who have, who are familiar with training, usually this is like the training pyramid. The more specialized the person, the more they're situated on the top, and they usually are very, very specialized. And people, as you trickle down in the pyramid, we try to target people who sit in the foundation. This includes people who have kids with disabilities at home, people who have siblings of disability at home, and community-based or community health workers. So in my, vision, what we're trying to do is try to link people who have the specialty with people who are situated in the bottom row here. So we initiated an initiative called Toward an All-Inclusive Jordan, which is an academic community partnership, as I said in the beginning, between the MGH Institute of Health Professions and stakeholders in Jordan and the Middle East. I'm going to play a quick video for you. It's only 3 minutes, so it shouldn't take time, and I will recap afterwards. And let me know, please, if you can't hear the sound when I play this. Can you guys hear the sound?
No, doctor, we can't. So I think you need please to share. When you share, you need to include the sound as well.
Okay, let me
No, not yet.
Okay, stop share.
Yes, now it's okay.
Okay, great.
التأهيل حق للأشخاص ذوي الإعاقة وعائلاتهم، بمكنهم من المشاركة والاندماج الكامل والفعال في المجتمع. برنامج نحو أردن شامل للجميع وجد لسد الفجوة بين الانتشار المتزايد للإعاقات وعدم توفر خدمات التأهيل من خلال الاستثمار بمهارات وطاقات طلاب الدراسات العليا في برامج التأهيل الطبي بين الأردن والولايات المتحدة. برنامج نحو أردن شامل للجميع مبني على التأهيل المجتمعي، لأنه عندنا الإعاقة ملف اجتماعي وحقوقي بحت، فإن الاعتماد على المجتمع في التأهيل هو الحل الأمثل، خاصة في الدول اللي بتقرن الوصمات بالإعاقة مثل الأردن. بنقوم إحنا كفريق أكاديمي بتدريب عاملات التأهيل في مراكز التأهيل المجتمعي على بناء وتنفيذ الخطط التأهيلية مثل التأهيل المنزلي لأهالي الأطفال ذوي الإعاقة.
Before the program, I was confident in my academic abilities, but this program allowed me to actually apply what I've been learning in class thus far. Joining the program not only introduced me to the CBR setting, but it also helped me acquire multiple professional skills, like problem solving and efficient communication, especially with different cultures and languages.
خلال دراستي كنت حابة أتعرف أكثر على التأهيل المجتمعي. هذا التدريب أعطاني الفرصة لأخذ خبرة شاملة لجميع أوجه سير عملية التأهيل المجتمعي اللي ما كان ممكن أحصل عليها بشكل شخصي أو أكاديمي، بالإضافة إلى أنه فتح عيوني على الفرص اللي ممكن أخدم فيها مجتمعي مستقبلاً.
استفدت من هذا البرنامج مراجعة كثير من المعلومات بعد ما توقفنا لفترة بسبب مرض كورونا. تعرفنا على طرق جديدة بكيفية صياغة الأهداف وترتيبها تدريجياً بطرق أسهل وكيف نحط معايير إلها. وكان من خلال هذا البرنامج إنه تبادلنا الخبرات، أشركنا الأم بكتابة الأهداف وشجعنا على البحث أكثر والتوسع بالمحاور اللي أخذناها سابقاً.
جيت أعالج بنتي بهذا البرنامج، شفت فيه تقدم وأهداف واضحة على بنتي، وعلموها كيف ثقة بنفسها. الحمد لله جاوزت هذه المراحل، كان مراحل الخوف. صرت الحمد لله أعالجها في البيت وعلى ثقة بنفسها، ولاحظت في تحسن في قدميها. حركة البسكليت صارت سهلة عندي، حركات صرت أعملها علاج طبيعي، شد ورخي، والحمد لله في تجاوز، وصارت تقف على الحيط، وبدأت إن شاء الله في تقدم. مشكورين.
عندنا أدلة علمية وبحثية بتبين أنه برنامجنا بيطور مهارات الفريق والتواصل لدى الطلاب ولدى عاملات التأهيل. بنحقق هذا الشيء ببناء جسر مشترك بين التعليم العالي ومراكز المجتمع المحلي حول أهداف مشتركة مثل توفير التأهيل للأشخاص ذوي الإعاقة لحتى نوصل لأردن شامل للجميع.
So this is in a nutshell the program that we have developed, and as you can see, we are unable to do anything at all without our community partner. So one of the things that we learned in terms of developing sustainable goals is asking the community stakeholders what they want and what their priorities are. What happens in things related to sustainability, what happens with the majority of scientists is that they make assumptions about what communities need, and they fill in, the needs related to developing programming that they think that would be helpful for the community. But what we do in our program is basically work with the community to let us know what their priorities are. And then based on the priorities that they tell us, we develop our coursework, we develop our training, and then we develop our programming with the individuals. And this is basically where the university comes in. After all the priorities are determined, we create courses such as an example that I previewed for you here, the community-based rehabilitation course, with coursework and laboratories and training related to that. And as you can imagine, every year, and because we use this approach, it's a lot of work, but it's worth it, because every year we move forward with the stakeholders, we ask them what their priorities are. They tell us that they have different priorities. So for example, in 2018, they told us that they're interested in assistive technology. 2019, they told us about inclusive education. How can we advocate, how can we teach mothers of children with disabilities to advocate for the inclusion of their children in school so they can get inclusive education? And then in 2022, post the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic, they wanted training for community-based rehabilitation workers on how to do programming at home in the absence of structured services and centers. So this is basically what we do, and we usually work in settings for schools for children with disabilities in refugee camps. We have different stakeholders in Jordan. Some of them include the Al-Baqa refugee camp and Gaza refugee camp, etc. And we also created a buddy system where for every student in the US that is being trained, we also train a Jordanian student in a master's of clinical rehabilitation system. This way, we're also maximizing the training capacity in the country. So we're building capacity through professionals and community health work. And these are some pictures of the trainings that we have done in the past. And in terms of the community impact, we have conducted over 500 direct sessions with kids with disabilities and their families. And on a scale from 0 to 5, there has been 2.6 points of improvement pre and post the intervention, in summary, over the past 6 years of work. And we trained over 22 Jordanian rehabilitation students in master's program and PhD programs. And we also trained 24 graduate students in Boston at Mass General Hospital. And we trained over 35 community-based rehabilitation workers in the field. As part of this as well, we've trained people in Masters of Public Health programs and high school students from the US. This work is directly connected to SDGs number 3, number 4, number 11, and number 17. And this has been, the experience that, that came to us. And I wanted to share the highlights of our program with you. And I want to thank you all for listening in. And this is just a group picture to say thank you from all of us. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Rawan, for the interesting sharing, which is a new angle of sustainability. Maybe this is the first time to talk about the social sustainability, the inclusion. So now we move to the third speaker, and we will be having Prof. Mansour. And Prof. Mansour is a professor at UCSI University from Malaysia. So the floor is yours, Prof. Mansour, and you'll be having 10 minutes, please. Prof. Mansour.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Wissam. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. And good morning, good night, good evening to everyone. So welcome all panelists, welcome all audiences from all over the world. I think those are in the Zoom platform. And first of all, thank you to Dr. Wissam for inviting me to this webinar on International Working Group, the Academia for Sustainability. So I do not have a PowerPoint to show or video. Basically, I'm going to share about my own current research, probably looking for collaborators who are interested here. So my topic is on sustainable happiness. Yeah, this is a new concept in early 2000. So I'm here to share my current research. So even though we know that a personal dimension of happiness among adolescents has been extensively studied, so we believe that the literature still calls for additional research on how happiness among mental health survivors or those in recovery or those in treatment can be improved, but not just improved. When we talk about sustainable happiness, we talk about how can we sustain that happiness over the long time. So basically a little bit about myself. I am currently the director, Center of Research for Mental Health and Wellbeing, UCSI University in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I'm a trained and licensed counselor, and I teach at the Department of Psychology, Faculty of Social Sciences and Liberal Art, and I also supervise students in PhD in education, basically those who are interested to do anything on well-being and also happiness. So ladies and gentlemen, probably all of you agree when we talk about happiness, we realize that happiness is typically seen as an eternal, something that everybody wanted to achieve at the end of the day or at the end of the week, at the end of the month, whether it is weekdays or weekend. And I believe this is an ultimate goal for all of us here, individual, group, researcher, lecturers, and even the entire notion. But we believe that before year 2000, happiness is still identified as a satellite concept, yeah, or happiness is usually equate or synonymous with what we call quality of life or well-being. So when we talk about happiness earlier on, of course, people who are in psychology, anthropology, counseling, we cannot run away from discussing PERMA model, yeah, PERMA model. As we know that PERMA model was developed by Seligman, which is an acronym for those who are new, probably P stands for positive emotion, the importance of people to actually endorse having a positive emotion throughout their everyday undertaking. The engagement, the importance of positive engagement, to have engagement with other people in our society. The importance of relationship, happiness call for a strong, healthy relationship, could it be within the family or outside. And happiness also call for all of us to look for meaning, yeah, and also to celebrate some sort of achievement, whether it is small or medium. That achievement is something to be celebrated. That make people happy. So we understand and we apply this PERMA model that can help us to alleviate our everyday undertaking, everyday life. But with an introduction of SDG, and when we talk about well-being, we are focusing on goal number 3, which is to ensure healthy life and promote well-being for at all ages. A new concept, which is called sustainable happiness, has been developed. And this sustainable happiness is intertwined with well-being, happiness, and also the sustainable development. So psychology and counselors or therapists, we also talks about not just well-being, not just happiness, but the important how to sustain that happiness and also positive well-being among our client or also individual. So a little bit about some understanding about this background of sustainable happiness. So the definition that usually we use is sustainable happiness is the pursuit of happiness that contribute to global welfare. I think this is something that is new when we introduce SDG. It's not just individual, it's not just group, but it should include global welfare. It should include society. And of course, the basic unit of society is individual. But having said that, sustainable happiness should not exploit other people. Yeah? So we believe that in the pursuit of happiness that contributes to global welfare, society of individual, without exploiting other people, the environment of future generations. So this is something again will build in the SDG, build in the importance of not exploiting the environment and also not to exploit the future generation needs and wants and right, that they all have right, that we should ensure that they have all this right when they are older. So in that sense, we believe that happiness depends on sustainability. So this is like egg and chicken thing, isn't it? So ladies and gentlemen, so we realized that in the last decade, happiness has been coupled with sustainability. So we boost interdisciplinary research and policy development on sustainability to include happiness. Then as we go along, this concept of sustainable happiness was further developed. For example, a scholar like Rogomisky maintained that happiness can be achieved through the intentional change of current personnel. So it is an intentional, it is a planned effort, yeah, of what? Of a current personal asset, strength, and also must include collective activities. Collective is not just individual, yeah. So this concept calls for an interdependent to each other, and everything must be carefully planned, and sustainable happiness could be achieved if all parties work together. I think this is a concept that we want to advocate about the importance of sustaining happiness. So this collective happiness calls for us, educator, parent, or citizen of the world, to provide what is needed by the individual based on their current needs and wants. So for my example, I'm researching on mental health survivor or those who are currently in the process of recovery. We need to provide what they really need, what they really want. Yeah, beside the treatment, the psychological or the biological treatment that they have. And also the call to provide opportunities. So not just resources is provided, but we also need to have an opportunity for them, a space for them, a chance for them, a possibility for them. It might be something that we plan. It might be something that they were asked to do or asked to join, whether it is voluntary or mandatory, so that resources that is available can be used if they were given the opportunity, so that hopefully they can be happy now and also in future. So we also believe that sustainable happiness call for interdisciplinary, between psychology, economy, it's about sustainability, and also health, the medicine and also the psychological health. So in pursuing that, we believe that sustainability framework can benefit from a precise measurement tool. As a researcher, we also look for something, for a concept that can be measured, and in doing so, we can assess happiness in the positive psychology perspective, whereas positive psychology can benefit from the contextual system, contextual systems thinking inherent to sustainability science. So therefore, part of my study is to develop a specific instrument to measure sustainable happiness among mental health survivors. So we have also in Malaysia a certain instrument that has been developed to ensure happiness in the family, but not happiness according to what is prescribed by adolescents who are a survivor of mental health. So we propose a holistic definition of happiness using a more relational approach that may be optimal, focusing on individual happiness while considering the interaction with other members of the community and also with the natural environment. So this is something very ingrained among mental health survivors because they need to interact with the community much more, and also to be out there in the natural environment, because natural environment do improve their mental health status. So therefore, we believe that sustainable happiness is achieved when improving individual happiness is correlated with improving well-being of other members of the community, gratitude, giving more, be there in the society, volunteerism. Those are part of individual happiness that can contribute to sustainable happiness, which need to be planned and structured in such a way, and also to look for the natural environment. We have a lot of model in my research. We look at model that was developed by Dobromysky that talks about sustainable happiness model. When we talk about happiness, we talk about eudaimonic activity, that human being has the need to flourish, to become better, to expand their possibility. And also we look at the hedonic prevention, which is the pursuit of pleasure, avoiding pain, and also self-indulgent in things that provide meaning and positive gratitude to them. So in the research also, we combined with other model, which is the sustainability through happiness framework that describe the important components such as happiness visioning, that it is important for all individuals to vision happiness for tomorrow, and that can be planned. And the components such as public participation, because to sustain happiness is to participate in public activities. The important to keep happiness profit inventory. This is something that we do balance sheet in counseling, and also to have what we call system planning, and also a lot of sustainability intervention. So, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Wesam and all the panelists and the audience. So in conclusion, what I'm trying to advocate here under SDG 3, the well-being, sustainable happiness is an intertwining concept that include well-being, happiness, and also the introduction of sustainable development itself. And sustainable happiness contribute to the individual well-being, to the community, and also to the global well-being, but must be done without exploiting other people, the environment, or the future generation. So I would like to stop here for anyone who are interested to join us or to collaborate with our Center of Research in UCSI universities. We are soon to launch our center, and we invite collaborators from all over the world, the university, the researcher, to be part of our research collaborator in future. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Dr. Wissam.
Yeah, thank you so much, Prof. Mansoor. And again, this is an interesting new angle of sustainability, sustainable happiness. So we move to the next speaker, and our next speaker will be Dr. Hana Al-Banna. Dr. Hana is a lecturer at Northumbria University in London. And she's also a senior social researcher at Faith Regal Hana.
Thanks a lot, Dr. Wissam. It's my pleasure to be here today. And my paper today, the title of my paper is Education for Sustainable Development, ESD, Impeding SDGs and Sustainability in Higher Education. So education for sustainable development is being increasingly recognized as vital to ensuring the future generations are equipped with the knowledge, skills, and values necessary to guide and pursue sustainable visions of the future and to contribute to addressing changing environmental concerns, social justices, and poverty. Therefore, universities has a crucial role to play in education, research, and community engagement to achieve this transformation. Action to support education for sustainability and social responsibility has been growing across the higher education sector in England and globally for many years. Alongside this global movement in the UK, the student call to action has also become increasingly vocal and active, with the National Union of Students regular annual survey showing that almost 80% of students want their institutions to be doing more on sustainability, and 60% want to learn more about sustainability. This also resonates well with the International Labour Organization, which estimates that meeting the requirement of the Paris Agreement to keep global average temperature to less than 2 Celsius above pre-industrial level has the potential to create a net increase of 18 million jobs. Many of these jobs requiring graduate sustainability leadership skills. So therefore, universities have untapped potential to promote ESD for sustainability leadership. Education for sustainable development. So what does this mean? Education for sustainable development, as we all agreed, offers an opportunity to explore the values, practices, and research that enable us to come to terms with the enormity of preserving life on Earth. Education for sustainable development is currently defined, and this is one of the definition currently defined by the University of Sheffield as equipping students both within the formal curriculum and in their wider student experience with the knowledge, skills, values, and attributes needed to work and live in a way that will bring about solutions to the urgent and ever-changing environmental, economic, and social challenges that we face now and in the future. So indeed, some years earlier, also UNESCO called for a decade of action, a decade of education for sustainable development, and mainly they highlighted that we need to integrate the principles, values, and practices of sustainable development into all aspects of education and learning, with the hope of changing human values and behaviors in sustainable ways. So by including SDGs and sustainability in teaching and learning, universities are enabling future generations to contribute to this global sustainability agenda, encouraging students to critically yet constructively assess the SDGs can help empower graduates to effectively design the next steps toward sustainability post-2030. ESD, Education for Sustainable Development, has been defined in various ways, but a recent framing by UNESCO captures many aspects. Education for sustainable development empowers learners to take informed decisions and responsible actions for the environmental integrity, economic viability, and a just society for present and future generations, while respecting cultural diversity. It's about lifelong learning and is an integral part of equality education. So therefore, ESD is a holistic and transformational education which address learning content and outcomes, pedagogy, and the learning environment. It achieves its purpose by transforming our societies. Here we have some ideas about how we can embed SDGs and sustainability in higher education. First, we have research, education, management and governance, and finally, leadership. When it comes to research, by creating research capacities, innovation, and knowledge. Move on to education by mobilizing students for action, education for sustainable development, and also SDGs related job supports and capacity building. Management and governance, here it's more about including SDGs in university practices and management, and governance aligned with SDGs principles. Moving on to leadership, here it's all about promoting dialogue between sectors to show higher education institutions are compromising with the SDGs and commit to these SDGs. Here just I thought to present a framework as a case study framework from University of Sheffield, and it's a 5-step framework for education for sustainable development. So this framework has been developed by the university to provide a shared pathway and a common language for achieving the university aspirations and to embed education for sustainable development into all courses by 2030. This framework starts with engage, and this is the step number 1, engage. Here the focus is on engaging staff and students in thinking about what sustainability means and how it relates to their area of study. Moving to step number 2, which is learn. Here it's all about encouraging thinking around the kind of circular activities that can support learning in this area and the specific topics that may fit well in relation to the programs offered by each department. Step number 3, which is to apply. Here apply, mainly we are highlighting the importance of opportunities to apply ESD skills, knowledge, and values in order to embed learning. Here you are, as educators, you are encouraged to think about immediate in-course opportunities, and maybe we can take some examples. This might be achieved through placements or work experience, community participation, activism, innovation. And if we move to step number 4, it's share. Here about sharing learning with others, reinforcing learning, as well as developing collaborations and partnerships across campus and beyond. Finally, the last step is influence. Here, step 5 is integral to the view that students are our future leaders. And many of those graduates go on to take leadership roles around the globe and hold positions where they have the opportunity to influence others. So in creating a more sustainable world, our graduates have a key role to play. And so this is step foreground leadership qualities and skills. Here we have a few suggestions from the Quality Assurance Agency for Higher Education, QAA, and Advanced Higher in UK, some tips how we can achieve ESD. First, number 1 is ESD objectives, target, and KPIs. KPIs are part of the institution's strategic priorities and strategies and policies. Number 2, the framing of ESD within the curriculum is included in the validation of new courses and existing courses. Number 3, ESD is central to the staff and student induction processes, as well as appraisal and promotion criteria. 4, ESD is articulated within quality assurance and enhancement processes. 5, staff development to enable ESD is fully supported at an institutional level. To conclude, the concept of sustainability is inherently complex, since it requires integrating people, planet, and profit. 3 high level of considerations. For higher education institutions to fulfill their role as sustainability models, a strong organizational culture needs to be established. So embedding sustainability and SDGs in higher education must be holistic, interconnected, and collaborative. Current challenges we face as higher educations could be lack of institutional commitment and leadership, lack of awareness and understanding of SDGs, insufficient funding. Those all can be overcome through fundamental, systemic, organizational, and epistemological shifts, including changes in the way education is supported, designed, delivered, and evaluated. So sustainability needs to be integrated into all aspects of higher education institutions, functions, including teaching, research, outreach, and physical campuses themselves. Some possible pathways include curriculum redesign, faculty developments, student engagement, community partnerships, and campus orientation. Sustainability both requires and offers important opportunities for collaboration and partnerships, innovative teaching methods and technologies, and strategic reforms with significant consequences within the field of sustainable development, as well as in how we understand and approach transformation within higher education more broadly. Thank you so much, Dr. Wissam, and thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hana, and also thanks to the other speakers. And I would like also to thank Engineer Iqbal. She's the co-host of this webinar. And I think now we'll be opening the floor for questions or comments where I know that most or all the participants are from academia. So definitely you will be having a lot of ideas for discussion, and also maybe some suggestions to bring this forum forward. And maybe I just want to add something, a workshop during the Global Sustainable Development Congress at KAUST at the end of this month, which there would be an by
you're breaking out.
And UNEP and contact to develop the efforts of to continue the efforts of
Dr. Wissam, I cannot hear you. Are you breaking up?
academia contribution to the sustainability. So please, Dr. Sahid.
You are breaking up. Dr. Wissam, you are breaking up.
Okay, Prof. So now we start the Q&A, and Dr. Sahid.
Yes, thank you so much, Dr. Wissam, and I'm very glad to meet global reputable and renowned professor, doctors from all over the world, from the background of academic and research. I'd like to state that I have a background experience working with Jeffrey Sachs of Sustainable Development that network of in New York, though I'm based in Nigeria. And one of the key review that we must take note of as academia has been, I think some of them have been highlighted from the previous speakers, but very significantly, I would like to remind us that this very SDG, it is a 15-year bound framework that we are all working towards. And unfortunately, at exactly the fourth year to the fifth year, we were retarded back to restructure or to the drawing board because of the COVID-19. The COVID-19 actually spoiled a lot of things. Like, for example, from my own experience, there are a lot of research collaboration that we have been developing over the past 3 years that because of the COVID-19, up to now, we were unable to balance to recover from that very instability caused by the COVID-19. And we should all bear that very in mind that as much as we are trying to actually contribute our quotas, we should also be aware of what are the likely.
Can you please conclude? Just to give more people the opportunity. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much. So where I am driving to is that the action that the university is bringing to board should take note of the time that are remaining for us to take the action and to deliver before year 2030. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So, Ms. Iqbal, do you have any comments?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Wissam, and thank you for all the presenters for the interesting presentations. Yes, sustainability is very important. It's not only in the higher education, but also from the early stage of the education, even for at the school level. So, and it's something that sustainability is not an easy work or an easy things that we can we can proceed with. So it's needed like a kind of effort, collective efforts from different sectors to come together and to make real change on the education system that we have. Policy changes, transformative the way of the environmental of the education, empowering youth as well. So it's really important. Thank you for all the presenters because they really address different topics connected and associated with the sustainability. So it's really important to keep together, working together, and also to be part of this platform and to make sides with the exchange of the knowledge and information, as well as for potential future collaboration, inshallah. Thank you.
Dr. Wissam, we can't hear you. He's muted.
It's also the
I think
connection.
he's not in the. He's supposed to be back, right? I think
I
he
think
got
he
some
got kicked
terrible
out.
connection there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought also.
Problem.
Wah, cantiknya pokok doktor tadi from UTM tu.
It's okay.
So
I
we can
think
have the other.
yeah, I think from our I think there's a great ideas. Everybody is actually working on the post pandemics, for example, like COVID-19. I think we accept that kind of changes. But the most important things, I think, to the rest of us, it is about for us to start looking for the opportunity that we have been given, a very huge potential from what the lesson learned, especially from the pandemics. One of them is exactly we will see that there are some wide spike on the higher education, especially when they are providing a few series of hybrid sessions and also online. But since actually a few countries they are receiving a very poor improving infrastructure on the telecommunication, something like that. So it's about a time for the government to do some investment on the infrastructure to start to actually to make it move faster than that what they are designed before. I think that will be another aspect that we are looking into on the lesson learned from the pandemic, as well as there are some other changes, especially on the business change and the change value of our ecosystem. Like, for example, at that time, we never knows about, the e-hailings, about the food grabs and everything. So after the pandemic, that kind of creation, more creative by other end users, especially on the how to make sure that everybody can get easily use that kind of things. And now on the machine learning coming in, artificial intelligence coming in, the industrial revolution is already there. So I think about on the sustainability, this is to make some integrity between this kind of knowledge that we already have. And I think most of the higher education right now, they're having a few problems, especially when delivering a very quality of educations. For example, like we having right now ChatGPT. So there are a few things that people very care and aware about that particular education, that what the things that should we deliver to the students. And we encourage the student to have a very a good academic and education at higher education. So this is something that maybe an opportunity.
All right, thank you, Prof. So, Prof. Muhammad Nur Nabi.
Assalamualaikum, you all. I'm Professor Muhammad Nur Nabi from Prince Sultan University, Saudi Arabia. I think I agree with you all, especially for the last presenter as well. The SDG announced in 2016 and now 2023, 7 years. So 7 years, what we have done, what we have to do. Still, we are discussing about the awareness, how to integration. So how can we achieve over the next 7 years? Two things here. Number one, the education side. I think we all need to integrate into our curricular development. It's not only the awareness of the SDG, but how we are preparing our students, our generation, to care about our own community, local community and global community. This is very important. The second aspect about the research. The research, Dr. Wissam, you will be very surprised to see the gap. We discuss about the gender gap, pay gap, and so on. The gap between the rich country and the low-income country is increasingly higher. So how can we, I'm talking about the research on the sustainable development goals. So I think since here we have people around the globe, we need to do something like where we can encourage and include people from the low-income countries as well, to bring them part of the discussion and so on. I think the discussion is one important aspect, and working on that another aspect. So let's work together, to bring them, both the people from the high-income country and the low-income country together, and we can make a better world. I strongly believe on that. Thank you, Dr. Wissam.
Yeah, thank you so much, Prof. So now, Dr. Asim.
Assalamu alaikum, and welcome to this very elaborate forum. I would thank Dr. Wissam for inviting us on this very enlightening perspective of coming to know about the sustainability. But just one comment, because I think we had very nice presentations by all the presenters. It's only about the fact that definitely this the climate change and the ecosystem and the sustainability, all things are now getting very much cohesively lying with one another. Because definitely the climate change is actually changing all the different perspectives regarding the sustainability. Just one thing that I would like to add is the fact that definitely, as Dr. Hannah was presenting, and she was talking about the importance of the higher education in collaborating with the sustainability goals. But I think that in modern times, it's very important that at higher education levels, at the graduate levels and the postgraduate levels, we are dealing with the product that have been coming to the universities from the primary schools and the lower level schools. So at that stage, I would suggest that this sustainability and the climate perspective and the ecosystem perspective, it's very important to guide our students and the children at the lower level, so that we could have a good manpower at the graduate and undergraduate and the postgraduate levels, because at this particular level, we should be more implementing rather than preaching these very basics to the society. So in that regard, I would suggest rather just add my point that definitely at the higher education level, it's very important, but at the lower education and the student level, which are at the primary and the basic education level, it's very important to make them aware and make them bring them into the circle. So that's what my point is. And thanks again for inviting us to this very enlightening session by the world-renowned professors. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Asim. So now, Dr. Khalid.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good evening, everyone. This is Khalid Dahlizi from Sharqiya University, Sultanate of Oman. First, I would like to thank all the contributors. I am the Director of Planning and Development at my university. And actually, I tried during the development and implementation of the strategic plan for the university. I have tried to find a relevant framework for embedding SDGs and sustainability practices in our plan. And based on my understanding and experience, I find it very difficult actually to have such practical framework, since we need to have some kind of awareness for our students actually before joining the university and while they are at the university while taking their courses. And also we need to share knowledge inside the higher education institution between staff members, and also to select relevant courses. It's not easy to spread these practices, sustainability practice and SDGs awareness in all course curricula. And then also most difficult is to change the attitude of students and the staff and even the senior management of the university, that these practices, sustainability practices and SDGs are very important and very relevant to their practices, because they actually bring more cost to the university side. And therefore, it's not easy to convince senior management at universities to embrace such practices. thank you very much again. Thank you, Dr. Wissam.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Khalid. So is there any other comment from the participants or from the panelists? Any comments or any suggestions? So we have a few minutes more. Okay, Prof. Sibnam.
Dr. Wissam.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, Prof.
Okay, yeah. Well, thank you for the presentations. I just want to follow from the last comment that I totally agree that it may be difficult to convince the senior administrators on the issue, because I really believe that educating the students are much easier than educating the professionals or professors. Sometimes I in my university, I try to be an advocate for SDGs. I carry out research, I work with my students, I offer courses, etc. So it's really easy to get the students, to catch them, because they're interested, they're young, they have fresh minds, they are open-minded. Whereas on the other side, sometimes when I do things with my students, some other professors look at me like, what's she talking about, or what are we doing, because they may not have an idea. So I think it would be very interesting if we as a part of this group, if we share different experiences from our universities, and maybe at the end, after a couple of more meetings, we can set up a kind of model or a guideline for the university administrators. And this could be based on some examples, cases, and our experiences from our universities. So thank you for organizing this, Dr. Wissam. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Prof. Dr. Mariam, Prof. Mansour, do you have any comment?
No, I don't have comment. Because I was waiting for other people to give feedback. I think you mentioned something about Global Congress coming soon. Maybe you want to share? Yeah.
There will be a conference, a global Sustainable Development Congress at KAUST, which is organized also jointly with Times Higher Education. And this will start at 29th of May.
Oh, this month.
So on that event there will be a workshop organized, and that is jointly with United Nations Environment Program. And later on, this initiative will be followed up with several kind of workshops, online and in person. So we are trying to promote that jointly. So we'll keep you updated. And I think this group, it will be kind of a continuous, a sustainable working group, which is dedicated to the role of academia in sustainability. And this is at least what we can do. This is what we've been doing, teaching and doing research. So we have to align all that with SDGs and sustainability so that we can contribute to the community, to the humanity, for a better life, a better and healthy lifestyle for the humanity. I think Dr. Mariam have a comment. Dr. Mariam?
Hello, yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Good morning, good evening. I don't know, good afternoon to everyone. I'm Dr. Mariam Ahmadian. Actually, my PhD is in community development from University Putra, Malaysia. I just want to say hello to Dr. Mansour also. And then now I'm working as a practitioner and behavior analyst in America for ABA therapy for autistic children. One of the most important things that I think we have a gap is between scientists and researchers and practitioners. as already one of the presenters also mentioned, that we do not have occupational therapists in terms of rehabilitation, physical therapists. I also said ABA therapists. In terms of disability, we need to train practitioners to help people are dealing with disability and autism and other problems around the globe, not just studying and researching. Yeah, research is very important, but the things that with dealing with people, we really need to have practitioners to help them to facilitate their life, to train the other, disability community members. And we need to have trainers around the globe. I think one of the things that we can focus on that is we as a researchers, as a social scientist, as a psychologist, focus on training people, at least for simple things like ABA therapy, occupational therapy, and send them to the community level, to the grassroots, to help those kids are dealing with autism. It's like that life is changed. We just don't need academia. We need put all the things that we are working in academia to translate to practice. And America is now working on ABA therapies and then train the kids, and then help to the facility or facilitate their life in terms of social well-being, psychological well-being. I'm here and I love to contribute or collaborate in this term in anything regarding training the people to help at the community level. I really think that we can do something for disability communities, for the people are, dealing with autistic problem around the world. And we should put our knowledge from the studies to practice. One of the gap that these days around the globe we have. I just want to add very, my short comments. So I really appreciate other presenters' jobs and everyone, especially Dr. Mansour, and to all colleagues in Malaysia. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Mariam. So I think Dr. Prof. Muhammad Nur Nabi has a comment. Prof. Nur Nabi.
Yes, sorry, it was muted. Thank you, Dr. Wissam. And I think those who are interested, I shared the link of the Times Education Congress at KAUST. So you all are invited. It will be in Saudi Arabia, end of this month. And it would be a very good platform. And thanks to Dr. Wissam, the Ministry of Environment and the UNEP as well. And some of the ministries will be joining. So it would be a good platform. I wanted to invite you all.
Yeah, thank you so much, Prof. So again, I would like to thank all the panelists, and definitely we'll keep on touch. We'll keep you posted. And just to say that, all these collaborative initiative, the environmental awareness initiative at the Ministry of Environment in Saudi Arabia, the United Nations Environment Program. So we are conducting a lot of programs with the universities here in Saudi Arabia, and with the Prince Sultan University, Princess Noura University, and other universities as well. So we'll keep you posted. So again, thank you so much for joining, for all the panelists, for the audience, and we'll keep you updated on all the future activities. So thank you so much. And have a good day, everyone. And I would like to thank Dr. Achib from Institute Sumatra, Technology of Sumatra. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Mr. Wesar, I thought we were taking picture.
Yeah, I already talked about. I'll send it to you too. Prof.
Oh, really? Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Wissam, and thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Mansur.
Thank
Please
you,
come.